Hi, my name is Darren from HTJ.Tax. Joining you today from sunny, well, actually not sunny, it's a bit overcast, but generally speaking, sunny Singapore. So today I want to talk about Singapore versus Malaysia. So, of course, these things are so subjective. Everybody will have their unique point of view. So these are just my perspectives. I just decided to share it. And I look forward to hearing what your perspectives are. Feel free to comment below or visit HTJ.Tax and share your thoughts. Also, in a couple months' time, I think, we are doing a live stream with one of my colleagues from our office here in Singapore, as well as one of our colleagues from our office in KL. So we're going to have that conversation as to the pros and cons of Singapore versus Malaysia. So if you want, you can visit htj.tax/events, and you can RSVP to that Zoom event. It's completely free of charge. You can join us. Be interesting to hear your points of view. So anyway, so as I mentioned, I'm based in Singapore. I've been here. This is my 10th year. But before the health crisis, before COVID, I would probably be in KL every month, if not every other month for, at least. So we based here in Singapore, we have over 30 people or so in our office, our affiliate office in KL. We're all part of Moores Roland, and there in Malaysia, there's pretty decent coverage. Obviously, the main office is in KL, but there's also an office in Penang, Malacca, JB, and Kuching. But I do admit I'm based in Singapore, so probably my perspective might be a bit biased. But, let's still have the conversation, right? So Malaysia, the pros, definitely, it's bigger. It's easier to get in. So, there are a number of options from a visa and immigration perspective to move and to set up your company there. It's much easier because demand and supply. There's more space, and there's a relatively lower cost of living. So those are my thoughts as to the pros. On the terms of the challenges, the reputation took a hit with some recent controversy around there was some challenges with the sovereign wealth fund, and if you're not familiar with it, you can just Google 1MDB and you'll see everything there is to see about that. So it was unhelpful to their reputation, right? It is arguably not as efficient as Singapore, which is, again, that's kind of like a no-brainer because Singapore is known as one of the most efficient jurisdictions in the world. Everything just works smoothly. The government services, infrastructure, it's all there. It's all up and running. So Malaysia not as efficient, and the talent pool is arguably relatively shallow compared to neighboring Singapore, which again makes sense because Singapore is a financial center, so it attracts talent from Malaysia. I have so many Malaysian friends and colleagues in our office here in Singapore. Many are Malaysian, but so there's it attracts talent from everywhere in the world, including around Asia. Whereas Malaysia does too. KL does have international talent but it's just not on the level of Singapore because, again, the structure of the economies are different. So that just makes sense. In terms of Singapore, the pros, and for those that would have listened to the video that I did on Singapore versus Dubai, kind of sounds familiar, so I apologize for repeating myself. So Singapore networking, it's so small that it's easy to bump into everyone. So in the central business district, especially around Raffles places, it's relatively tightly interwoven. So when you go to networking events and business events, you're going to meet a lot of the same people over and over again, which is good. So you get to develop and strengthen those relationships. So networking, super easy, small space. The talent pool is pretty deep. As I mentioned, it's expensive, but it attracts talent from all over the world with high salaries. So if you're working in Singapore, chances are you're relatively well compensated compared to neighboring jurisdictions. Let's see, banking is world class, and if it is that you are an entrepreneur, have people in our ecosystem, clients that are entrepreneurs, and if they want to raise funds in Asia, chances are you're going to be looking in Singapore or Hong Kong. That's just the reality of it, right? So from a banking, from a financial services, from a fundraising perspective, it is a pretty attractive jurisdiction. Now, as kind of hinted and mentioned, it's super expensive, which makes sense. Again, demand and supply. It's a really small island, and there are a lot of people that want to live here and enjoy the benefits that Singapore has to offer. So it's super expensive and it's hard to get in. So yeah, that's it. It just requires a lot, and the cost of running a business, especially if you have a startup, it does eat away at your runway because of the high fixed costs that would be involved in setting up and running a shop from here. So something to bear in mind. Conclusion. Everything is super subjective. I keep mentioning that. I just want to emphasize that. Personally, I enjoy both jurisdictions. I enjoy both Singapore and I enjoy Malaysia. I love working in Singapore. It's super efficient. It's easy to get stuff done. I also enjoy interacting with my colleagues and clients that we have in Malaysia and KL in particular. I love socializing in KL. Really super friendly people, wonderful food. I love Malaysian food. I'm looking forward to visiting there as soon as I can. And please feel free to have a look at htj.tax/events. We have probably at least 2,000 articles on all things offshore international tax. And we have over 1,000 videos on various platforms, including YouTube. Basically, any podcast platform, you're probably going to find our videos there. Our marketing team does a fantastic job of keeping everything up to date. And I invite you, if it is that you are trying to decide between Malaysia and Singapore, then please feel free to sign up. It's going to be free, htj.tax/events, and join our live stream where we're going to have a lively debate discussion with our two experts, Budia, who is based here at our office in Singapore, and Ravi, who is based at our office in KL. So please feel free to join us. See you next time. Bye-bye.
So if you're a 6, 7, or 8-figure investor, entrepreneur, or business owner who needs a tailor-made solution from a qualified team of professionals, we can help you achieve the international lifestyle, the freedom, and even the tax savings you're looking for. Visit us at htj.tax and live that international life.